Hey everyone, I'm Jerry James Stone, and in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about how to properly store radishes. If you do it correctly, they'll last a really long time, and you get tasty radishes. So let's get to it. So the first part that's really important, I think, to understand about storing radishes is to figure out what's the biology, what's going on. So when you have your bunch, your radishes, you have the root part, this root part here, and then you have the greens on the end. So you probably remember this from science class, but basically those roots are used for pulling in moisture from the dirt, right? So when they're below ground, they're pulling in nutrients, they're pulling in moisture to feed and provide that food, that water, that energy to the greens so they can grow. So these greens are really dependent upon the roots. So you have to remove those greens, because if you don't, they're going to continue to pull moisture and nutrients and everything else from the roots and just dehydrating it and ruining the part that you actually want to eat, those radishes. So what I like to do first is just trim off the radishes. So I take my kitchen scissors and just cut them off. Now, the thing is, once you remove the radishes, don't throw away the greens. You can actually eat these. They're edible. They're actually quite delicious. I love chopping them up and putting them in a salad. You can make a pesto with them. You can put them in soups, chop them up and put them in an omelet. There's lots of things you can actually do with them. They're wonderful in a green smoothie. Fight food waste, so you don't actually have to throw them away. What you want to do is just take them, put them in a plastic bag, put them in the crisper drawer. The thing is, they're only going to last for a couple days, so you want to use them quickly because they no longer have the radish root on there to pull that moisture and pull those nutrients from. So now they're just pretty much ready to die. So you can use them, you can eat them, just use them quickly. So we have our radishes. I'm also going to go ahead and snip off the actual root part of the radish. Okay, now it's time to prep our radishes for storage. Okay, so to prep the radishes for storage, what you want to do is you want to take a bag that you can seal, like a Ziploc bag. You want to take damp paper towels, lay one down, and then just go ahead and put a layer of radishes in the bag. You want to cover that one layer with another damp paper towel. Just depends on how many radishes you have too. But I'm just going to add in another towel, cover them up, add another layer of radishes. So the thing here, why I'm doing this, radishes love humidity. Like I said, their root and their whole job is to pull moisture from the dirt, right? That's what root vegetables do. That's what carrots do. That's what beets do. So you're kind of simulating that with the damp paper towel. Now you want it to be damp enough to provide moisture, but not so damp that it's getting water everywhere. So it shouldn't be dripping with water. You want to make sure you really just damp the towel and really wring it dry. Just add in the other radishes. And the most important part is you want one more towel to put on top. So just top it off with another towel. So there you go. You have the radishes. They're inside the bag. They're wrapped in these damp paper towels. So next thing is to remove as much air as you possibly can from the bag. If you want to get anal retentive about it, you can use a straw and suck out all the air. You don't have to do that, but just try to move as much air out. Seal up the bag. Now the radishes are ready to store. Radishes, along with being around humidity, they also really like being cold. So stored this way in the refrigerator, in the crisper drawer, your radishes will last up to a couple weeks this way. It's a great way to extend the life of those radishes once you get them from the supermarket. So radishes are not very responsive to ethylene gas. That's really important. So what that means is ethylene gas is basically a ripening hormone. Most produce puts it off. Most produce is also affected by it, some more than others. So for example, if avocados are extremely sensitive to ethylene gas, if you put them in a bag with an apple, because apples put off a lot of that gas, the avocado will actually ripen faster. Radishes are not only not susceptible to it, they also don't put out a lot. So you can kind of store them next to anything. And that's all you need to know. That's all it takes to store radishes for up to a couple weeks. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If there's something that you want to see or that you want to know about, drop a comment below. And if you like to cook like I do, I release new videos every single week. So hey, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.